It's the Exit 52 podcast presented by Jimmy Seafood. Back again post-Thanksgiving. The OG trio is back. It's Taylor, Arditti, and Banks. Gents, it's fantastic to see your faces. It's fantastic to speak with you on this Ravens bye week, this post-Thanksgiving, where we had a football and college basketball fiesta, one of the great weeks of the year from a sports perspective. Did you guys have good Thanksgivings? Are you feeling good about you? Did you give thanks to everything you needed to?
I'm so full still, like the most full I've ever been. But yes, it was good.
Bloated, yeah. No, it's
you were in Wisconsin. Thanks.
Wisconsin is a special type of Thanksgiving. They truly send it. It's the crockpot capital of the world, I would say. Pretty much people just show up with entire dishes and crock pots, and it's really a matter of, are there enough outlets in the house to support all of these crock pots?
Do you think, does Wisconsin, do they have the most extension cords, like per capita, do you think? Just for plugging in crock pots?
Yeah, and all that? Probably. By the way, I almost said this like a week or two ago when we were talking about Thanksgiving sides and all that good stuff. Wisconsin stuffing with the sausage and all that up there, oh, buddy, that's a special kind of stuffing.
I'm in on that.
High-level stuffing.
I've heard it's good.
Yeah. It's good eatings.
What was your guys' favorite thing that you watched during what they call Feast Week from a sports perspective?
What was the one day, I think it was Wednesday, when we had, who was it? Purdue played. Who was it? Was it Purdue? Fuck, who was it? There were like two great matchups. It was like Marquette and someone, and then
Marquette and Purdue.
The day that there was
Marquette and Purdue played in the final of the Maui. It was Purdue.
The one before
Marquette and Kansas, and Purdue. Oh my gosh,
who was it? I was watching that like during my last like couple hours of work, and I was like, "This is incredible!" Like.
Purdue Gonzaga.
Yeah, that's what it was. Those two combined, those two games are my favorite things.
Sorry. Purdue played Marquette on the Wednesday. They played Tennessee on Tuesday.
That game was fun.
They played Gonzaga on Monday. What a 3-game stretch.
Yeah.
Yes. The Maui was fantastic. Now the All-State Maui Invitational formed the Maui Gym Maui.
Are you strictly talking hoops?
No, I'm talking anything. There was so much on.
I think the Alabama Auburn game, Iron Bowl, was high level. All time SEC camera work there.
You weren't watching Rutgers Maryland?
No.
Okay.
It was over.
Yeah. No, that was amazing. That's probably the best. I thought Ohio State Michigan was fantastic.
That was a very good game too. Yeah. And then, Bills Eagles was maybe game of the year. Yeah, yep. No, that was tremendous. Got to tip your cap to Jake Elliott there.
I didn't think that had any shot of going in. I was like, this is going to
So the ball was in the air, and I'm like, well, it's kind of leaning right. And then it was at the screen. It hit the screen so fast, and I thought the ball was only halfway there when it hit the screen. I was like, oh, this is going to veer right by the time it gets to the goalpost. Oh, no, it's already through it.
Yeah, it was like
laser.
Great. That was a great game. I loved how Nance, I'm sure because that game rolled deep into the Football Night in America pregame show, they had to promote the Ravens-Chargers game like 16 times in the final like half an hour of the broadcast. Like they just kept popping that thing up, and he'd be like, Ravens-Chargers coming up on NBC. It's like, it was so bizarre how many times they promoted it. I'm sure that's some sort of like rights thing they have to do. But that was a great game. Game.
I do have another candidate, and I don't know. I think Brian would appreciate it more. I don't think he's watched it than you, Taylor. No offense. I tweeted about it. The Yogi Berra thing on Netflix is unbelievable. You have to watch it. Apparently, so there's two new baseball things I found on Netflix. They had, so I think it was called It Ain't Over Till It's Over, the Yogi Berra story. It's like an hour and 40 minutes or something like that. And then they released an Untold on the steroid era. Untold did Malice at the Palace and Manti Te'o and all that. But
Manziel's that's an Untold.
Yeah, those are great.
They have one on the steroid era, and I was like, where was this being promoted? I don't know. So I haven't watched that yet. But
it was a piece of baseball content that didn't get promoted. What a shock!
I know, it's crazy, right? But the Yogi Berra one was incredible. I watched it with my dad. He's a Yankee fan, never thought I would cry watching a story about Yogi Berra. It was like, I'm telling you, I didn't know, and I don't want to ruin anything or like give any spoilers away, but like George Steinbrenner.
Was it just a Yogi Berra life, like a life thing?
It kind of looks into him, and like it starts with him, getting signed and eventually getting to the Yankees and just his whole career, and then a lot of it's after. It talks a lot about him and Steinbrenner. I had no idea the shit Steinbrenner did to him. Like, what a fucking asshole. That's not breaking news there, but like George Steinbrenner, not a good person, just a complete cuck. Like everything about him sucked. And Yogi, again, I know of Yogi Berra.
Big calzone guy. I mean, I can get behind that.
It sucks. But Yogi, again, is like, I mean, we obviously don't have any connection to the Yankees, with Yogi, but it was really cool to watch. And again, you learn a lot about him and his whole like family. And his son played for the Colts. His son was a punt returner for the Baltimore Colts. Like, I had no idea. His son.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. So give it a watch, because you're gonna be like, I really like Yogi Berra now. Like, he's just, I don't know. It was really, really cool. So I watched that actually right as Auburn, Alabama was ending. Like, so I was able to flip over to see like the final touchdown and like right as the Yogi Berra thing ended. So definitely check it out if you're a baseball fan on Netflix. Shocker that Netflix finally has something good to like watch. All their stuff stinks.
Wow, you're anti-Netflix.
No,
what?
When's the last time you found like a good movie to watch on Netflix? Their documentaries are good. I think their movies and now most of their shows stink.
I can't say that I dip into like the Netflix movie experience.
Like original?
No, that's not true. Well, that's not true as recently. When I was at my parents' house on Friday, I had football on, and my mom essentially just pulled rank and was like, "We're done watching sports. Like we're moving. We're watching a movie." So me and my dad and my cousin and my mom turn on a movie or turn on Netflix. She like moves it to Netflix on the Apple TV. It was a very nice pulling of rank by my mom, but it was like a clear like, hey, like this like the 5th place game in the Orlando Challenge. Like I'm done. Like we're gonna watch it. So
poor lady.
Yeah, we throw on Netflix. We're like scrolling through the movies, and we watched a movie. I don't know if this name means anything to you guys, about Diana Nyad. She was like a marathon swimmer from the 70s and 80s. It was like a biopic with Jodie Foster and oh my god, who actually played her? Oh my god, somebody movie. Annette Bening. And my mom's like, it has 85% of Rotten Tomatoes. My mom's like, all right, let's watch this. Like, I know this person, this meant something, whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool, sports biopic. We'll put it on. Halfway through the movie, I just like turn to my mom and dad. I'm like, this is terrible. This movie stinks.
Is awful.
And my dad just gives the sort of like very like, tries to like, he's like, yeah. And my mom's like, no, it's bad. Like, I'm sorry I picked this. It's like, it's not, but yeah. So if that's any indication of the rest of the Netflix, because I haven't watched a Netflix movie in a while, but that was not very good.
You won't find anything good except for like, again, the documentaries, like when they had the old 30 for 30s on and stuff like, obviously I think do they still have Seinfeld, or is that on Peacock now? Right. Like,
I think they still have Seinfeld.
I can't keep up with it. I don't think it's on there. Do they?
I don't know. But anyways, Yogi Berra, it ain't
people
over.
People like I guess you did say documentaries. People like the Beckham.
I heard that was good. Was good. Is that on Netflix? I guess that is on Netflix.
That's Netflix. The Beckham documentary is on Netflix. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, all the movies I would want to watch that I'm looking through right now: Rush, Pitch Perfect. Those are like not Netflix movies. So you're talking about like the Netflix. They have the N on the top. They're like, these are the Netflix
No. I'm talking about anything on Netflix. Like, have you seen of the movies are awful on Netflix? Like they're movies where you're like, I don't want to watch it. Like I would never watch this.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I thought you meant like the actual Netflix produced.
I don't know. I think some of those aren't great either, but
because they've got. I mean, I'm looking. They've got Forgetting Sarah Marshall. That's a good movie. Wolf of Wall Street's on here. Oh, here's Nyad. What a movie. So yeah. All right. Yeah, I think Ohio State, Michigan was mine. We have Auburn, Alabama. We have The only day that really disappointed was actual Thanksgiving. None of those games are really all that interesting. I guess Detroit and was a vaguely interesting game. But
I pulled the classic old man, and I fell asleep with the Commanders down. Like I think it was like 21-10 or something, 24-10 maybe. And I was like finding myself nodding out Commanders Cowboys.
Was that pre or post Dolly?
It was I saw Dolly. No, yeah, I saw Dolly. But I felt I must have fallen asleep either late in the third or something like that. And I woke up and the Cowboys had 45 points. And I was like, how long have I been asleep? Like, what the hell did I miss? I missed like that guy Bland's like his pick 6 and a couple other touchdowns, I guess. But yeah, again, the games were nothing special. It was more the same with Detroit being bad on Thanksgiving. So.
Yeah,
watching with the Packer gang was pretty good, and plus it's 11:30 in the Midwest when that game starts. So like Thanksgiving is off and running real quick when if that's the setting you're in, which was great. Like we got in and got out, like not out, but like food was served early, and we were getting after it, and then just like lots of time to just lay around on the back end, which is very nice.
Solid.
I love that 11:30 start. That's nice. Although I will say that would interfere with the Turkey Bowl in this area, so can't have that. I will, in the name of accountability, I will come on and say congratulations to Loyola on the victory. Congratulations.
It's big of you.
Yep. If I'm going to come on here and boast after they win, I will come on here and be accountable for the Calvert House losses. Couldn't stop him. Couldn't stop the kid Worthington, the running back. Unbelievable. Great job by him. So was Jimbo checking in on it or no?
He's very much checking in on it. I don't think he went. He always thinks about going and he doesn't go.
We might have to, me and the rest of our group of Calvert Hall friends, I might have to bring Jimbo to the homecoming next year. Maybe I'll have to go.
We'll get you a conversation a few weeks ago. It never happened.
It was. My younger brother went, said it was great. So
get him on a parade float out there.
We bring Jimbo in. We sneak you in.
No, that's okay. I can't. I'm not welcome. I mean,
stolen valor. He's not a man of.
By the way,
yeah, exactly.
You are not welcome.
No, I know I'm not. And
he's not a man of what is it? Honor, integrity.
I'll sit at home and I'll wait by the phone.
Let's get into some Ravens bye week talk here very quickly. This episode is going to be a little bit of a chop it up between the three of us. We will be doing no draft. We are doing Nik Caner-Medley, but we're going to try to get through about an hour of chop it up here in the bye week because it's the Ravens bye week. You know, we're doing a little bit of a bye week on the pod. So we're just going to roll through some topics here. Our good pals, our compadres, Mr. Jake and Mr. Spenny, were on the radio with Mr. Glenn Clark doing sort of a state of the Ravens bye week. So we'll kind of do a similar thing among the three of us. And Arditti, I want to swing it to you first because you don't really come on the instant analysis, so we don't hear your Ravens takes kind of fresh after the games. So from your perspective, where do you feel like this team sits? We, in the instant analysis, you can go back and listen to our thoughts on the instant analysis from Sunday. For a win, it was a very sort of negatively toned show for most of it. I would say like 70% based on the Ravens kind of, you know, not convincingly beating a Chargers team that really beats themselves like week after week after week.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you see it? Are you more on the positive side of where Ravens fans should be, or do you feel like you're waiting for the inevitable fall where they give a little too much away in some of these games and that can't work against better teams?
No, I mean, I if I was a Ravens fan, I think I would be feeling very good right now. Again, I mean, they're playing their best football this late in the season. Again, they're one of these teams that has the weird like super late bye, which for fantasy purposes I'm not a fan of. I have some big must-win games, and I have like five, 6 people out. So
condolences.
Nobody cares about your fantasy team, but no, I mean that game kind of reminded me of the Cardinals game. Again, it was like the weird. They travel west. Again, I mean it's been talked about the travel schedule that they've had. And they kind of brought it on themselves by not taking the bye after London. But, I mean, it's been a brutal travel schedule. But they were able to get through it pretty much unscathed. So if I was a Ravens fan, I would be feeling very happy. I think that game on Sunday was a weird – they always felt like they were in control. I know, obviously, the doom and gloom on Twitter was like, oh, here we go again. It's going to happen again. And it was like the Ravens fans being like, we're going to give this up versus the – Twitter just being like the Chargers are going to charger, and it's like which one is the higher power, and it's obviously the Chargering. But no, I thought they were always in control of that game. Like, it didn't seem like they were ever going to lose. And I don't know. I mean, again, if you're 9-3 right now, I think somebody tweeted it last time, or earlier, last time that they were 9-3, they won the Super Bowl. I think it was 2012 that year. So if I'm the Ravens and their fans, I would be feeling very confident. Again, Lamar's not playing like great, but he doesn't have to be. I don't know. It's these weird games that they're just winning, and the defense is so damn good. I don't know. I'd feel very excited. Again, Zay Flowers is looking better and better every single week. Even without Andrews, again, it's only been one game without him, I think. But again, I think they're fine. Like, to me, they seem fine. Again, Mitchell is still super healthy and fresh legs, so he's going to be a weapon down the stretch. If I'm a Ravens fan, 9-3, I'm feeling ecstatic. Again, especially you look around the division. Deshaun Watson out for the year, Burrow out for the year, Kenny Pickett still Kenny Pickett, even though they don't have Matt Canada anymore. But I think you're sitting pretty, Ravens fans right now. And now it's going to be what we talked about a couple weeks ago. And it's, how do you get Taylor Swift to come to Baltimore? That's what you need to have happen. Like, obviously you're going to probably lose a game in those standings, this week because of having the bye. But I don't know their schedule offhand. I don't know what they're facing the next 5 weeks, 4 weeks or whatever. But again, I'd feel good if I was a Ravens fan.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, overall, does feel good. To your point about them playing weird games, it seems like early on in the year, they're either playing weird games or they're winning games outright and just being better and just, cream rise to the top type of thing, what have you. Those games that were weird ended up being a lot closer, or they were on the wrong side of them. Now they're starting to close out games. They're starting to kind of take over and take that, I don't know, championship mentality, whatever you want to call it. It feels like they're growing into it. Like, the killer instinct has grown. The sense of urgency, especially on the defensive side of the ball, has evolved. It's the expectation, the bar has moved now from, of course they're sitting pretty in division, and that's, the first box to check. We got to go out there and make sure we take care of the division. But, the focus, like the aspiration for now, for sure, is all about that 1 seed. I mean, it's there in front of them, and it's not necessarily a cakewalk by any means. There's a long road to it. I think New York Times, percentage-wise, has this like 25% to be able to get it done, with Chiefs in the driver's seat for sure. It feels like they got to take 2 or 3 on that really tough stretch between Jacksonville 49ers and Miami. Get a little bit of help and obviously take care of the other ones, which, any given Sunday, but are games they really should clean up. So I'm licking my chops thinking about that AFC Championship game that's gotten me in trouble in the past. But even then, just with the way the playoffs are laid out, like, that 2 seed is still a huge thing. Mm-hmm. Like, before, it was very locked in. Like, you get the bye. That was the thing you think about when you try to get that 2 seed. But even then, the difference between the 2 and the 3 seed is pretty significant. You don't want to be going on the road in the divisional round, especially with some of the deep teams that are here in the conference. So even if the Chiefs kind of take care of business on their end and we're not able to really overcome that, like, still a great place to be. Still would be awesome to host consecutive weeks at home, and work our way to hopefully an AFC Championship game. And who's to say that the 2 seed doesn't end up hosting anyways? The Chiefs have hosted that AFC Championship game time and time again, but they have not always been the 1 seed by any means. Teams get upset. It happens all the time. So there are a couple dangerous teams that could be, landmines. Like, if Buffalo can find a way in, nobody really wants to play them. I think they're kind of like a sleeping giant that could play badly into our favor if we end up as a certain seed that, ends up lined up against them early in the playoffs. But that same team could end up facing the Chiefs in a place where they don't want to see them either. So it's all about just kind of getting in the right spot in the dance. And ultimately, it seems pretty inevitable that they're going to be there.
I mean, I think the other thing you talk about with the stretch of games, obviously they're tough games, but 2 of those games, the Jaguars and Dolphins games, are against teams that are right there in the thick of things for the 1 or the 2 seed. I mean, we talk about this as like a Ravens Kansas City battle, but the Jags and the Dolphins are right there to get it done as well. And the Ravens have the ability to peg them back and do their own work there. So those 2 games, obviously, I think it's pretty easy for fans to see the importance of those 2 specifically. That 49ers game is going to be a giant showcase game between 2 of the best teams in the league on primetime, and that will be awesome. But the Jags and the Dolphins games are both more important games than it. And we'll see how the Ravens do in those games. Those are obviously in a few weeks.
Are there teams? I guess I was going to ask, like, what are the teams that you guys would feel uneasy if say the Ravens do get the 1 seed? Who are the teams that you guys feel uneasy, like, coming into Baltimore? Like, obviously it's the Chiefs, and then obviously Brian mentioned the sleeping giant that is the Bills. Who knows what they're going to do week to week? Happy birthday, Stephon Diggs, by the way. But like, who are the team? Like, do the Dolphins scare you guys if they're coming into Baltimore? And
to me, of all the rest of the teams, it's clearly the Dolphins over somebody like the Jags, just because you have to deal with the game breakers on the outside that they have, and I think the Ravens have done a very good job for the most part preventing explosive plays defensively, but you just don't want to play arguably the best player at his position in the game, and that's Tyreek Hill. To me, if the Jags come to Baltimore for a home playoff game, the Ravens, I mean, famous last words, the Ravens aren't losing that game. I just think that that's a team that the Ravens beat. But I would be way more scared of the Dolphins. And then you look down, and besides Buffalo, there are not a ton of AFC teams that scared you. And honestly, the team that would quote unquote scare me the most of like the Steelers, Browns, Colts, Texans, Raiders, I guess theoretically, is CJ Stroud. I think I would be the most. I know Spenny jokes about the Stroud boys every single week, and is a big CJ Stroud guy. But I think like of all those guys, you then just start looking at who they have at quarterback and what they can do to you, and that's just the guy I wouldn't want to play. Not worried about Minshew, not worried about Russell Hustle and Russell Wilson, not worried about Kenny Pickett, not worried about, Joe Flacco potentially coming to Baltimore. Like, so to me, like other than the top 3 behind the Ravens right now, Chiefs, Jags, Dolphins, I think it would be CJ. I don't want to play that guy. And the Ravens probably beat the Texans anyway, but I think that would be the team where I'd be like, but if this guy's like the truth, then he could cause problems.
He would have a game where he throws for like 370, like 3 touchdowns, but like 2 picks and a fumble or something like that. Like his numbers would look good, but it's like, the Ravens just beat him because he made rookie mistakes.
And that's my like take coming out of Sunday, where we did really a lot of it was negatively tinged because of kind of the lack of convincing factor to the win. The Ravens defense is really, really good. I mean, and I thought that what they did Sunday, and I sort of said it was like their magnum opus of the season, and they've had some huge performances. They destroyed Detroit. They destroyed the Seahawks defensively. But to like continue coming up with like huge turnovers to prevent points in a game where that was a huge, with it, only winning by 10, they just kind of showed all the things they can do. And they're a game changing. I don't think they're getting enough play around the league in terms of national attention. I
think that was an eye opener for the nation for sure.
Yeah, the Ravens storyline is always about Lamar, and every loss is about Lamar, and every win is about Lamar. And I get it; he's the star, he's the $250 million man, he's the guy on the marquee. But the Ravens defense, and we'll see. Maybe it will happen if they shut down a Kyle Shanahan-led offense in a couple weeks, and it's like, they win a 17-10 game, where they shut down Tua and that offense in 3 weeks over consecutive games. And I just think it's at a certain point they're going to need to get, the credit for really, I think, being the thing that will get the Ravens to the promised land. Obviously, you want that to be Lamar, and Lamar is doing very much his part to have them at 9-3. But the defense was the story of that game on Sunday.
It was Roquan. It was Patrick Queen. The video, I forget what play it was because I saw it live and then I saw the clip over and over of Queen. It was like a dump off, I think, to Eckler, and like Queen and Roquan just both. It looked like Madden with how fake it was, with how fast they were both moving. It was like they both sniffed it out immediately and just were like fucking like wild dogs right at him. And I was like, holy shit, like that. I mean, you get them, and they've got it at every level. Those two in the middle, Matabike, right up front, and then Kyle Hamilton, who's incredible. And again, like this, I feel like this was Kyle Hamilton's coming out week. You guys may have said that on the instant analysis, but it was all over Twitter being like, yeah, this Kyle Hamilton guy is a freak. Like, he's a beast. And I mean, he picked the perfect game to do it. Like, the plays that he did it too were like engaging the blocker, engaging, and then just fucking firing off and like tackling the guy in the backfield. It felt like he was involved on every play. So the defense is really, really good. And again, Roquan and Patrick Queen are just playing incredible. Like really, really just awesome football right now. So it's scary. And like you said, it's not just all Lamar, or at least it shouldn't be the talk on Lamar. A lot of it should be the defense too.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, I mean, guys will step up in the future years, but this is probably PQ's last ride here in Baltimore. Matabike too. Like, it's hard to fathom. At least one of those guys is going to be out of here, if not both, and that'll change the complexion of the defense some, and guys will come along. But it's one of those things where it's like, this might be the best this gets on that side of the ball. A guy like Clowney gets a year older, and he's also been a guy who's been just he's been a lot.
Way better than Titans Clowney.
I was gonna say I was waiting on Sunday for Spenny to dig up that tweet that he and I got in the argument with when he signed, and I was like, y'all Ravens fans are gonna hate this guy by like week 8. Like, he's gonna be hurt, he's not gonna care, and he's not gonna, he's been incredible. I mean, he's been the signing of the season for a lot of teams. What did they say? He's making like $2.5 million.
2.5.
Yeah, he's playing incredible. Like, I mean, good for him. Like, that's been awesome to see. And same thing. I mean, Kyle Van Noy's had a quiet last game, I think, but I mean, he was he had like a 3 or 4 week stretch where he was getting a sack and a half like every game, and you were like,
that play in the flat that he got.
Yeah, he had the one. Yep,
that was
he jumped
huge
up.
play.
Yep, yeah. But so again, I mean, they're finding it. And again, it just seems like everything is kind of clicking like that for the Ravens right now. So yeah, I think they're in a very good position to again make a run. Like, I don't think it would surprise anyone if they snag the number 1 seed or go into Kansas City and be probably the weakest Chiefs team we've seen in some time. I know we say that all the time, like, and those are like famous last words, but I could see them. I mean, that would be a great defensive battle, but I could definitely.
It really would. The Chiefs defense is really good.
Yeah, that would be fun to watch, regardless of where it is.
And projecting very forward, an Eagles-Ravens Super Bowl would be a tremendous game. The Eagles have a moxie going that is like, we don't care if we're down however much, we are winning the game. Like, they are just very.
I mean,
they're gonna melt.
You think so?
Oh, you think it's a melt situation?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just like just one of those things where all the bounces or all the things go one way for a while, and then when the stakes are higher, not because they're not, championship DNA. It's just like football always comes around and gets you eventually.
I feel like it did that last year. Them in the Super Bowl with Hurts just dropping the ball. You remember he just flat out dropped it, and it was like, oh, that play never happened. But no, I hear what you're saying. But I know you're like, they always seem to just come through. Like, even at the end when Elliott hits that field goal, and like Jalen Hurts and Jason Kelsey, they both like had close-ups on them. Neither of them like blinked. They were like, yeah, okay. Like, of course he hit a 59-yarder, 58-yarder in the rain or whatever. Like, why wouldn't he? So that would be good. 49ers are going to be fun too. Where's that game? The Ravens 49ers.
San Francisco on Christmas night.
Oh, that's right. Holy. I mean, that's
as
mega matchup.
As popcorn game as it gets. Even though, like, dude, the NFL has been throwing out bangers, especially with the Eagles, like week after week.
Mm-hmm.
God, Goodell. Goodell is
the NFL throwing out bangers to mask that the depth of the schedule every week is awful.
Yeah.
Like, there's just one awesome game a week.
The fact that like Titans Panthers games are 1:00 game on Sunday. Like,
so bad.
They're for every like 9 bad games, there's one awesome game, and we're like, this is great. And then it's like, yeah, but Saints Falcons earlier was terrible.
They did get a little screwed. I will say they have some pretty good games this week. Seattle Dallas is a good Thursday night game. They got screwed with Burrow. Cincinnati Jacksonville would have been awesome on Monday night. They got screwed a little bit there. Green Bay kind of frisky. Could be a fun game against Kansas City on Sunday.
Dude, I've watched a lot of Packers football the last 5 days. Like, they look kind of good.
Philly and San Francisco.
That's going to be that's
Denver, Houston. Denver, Houston is a game that means something for sure.
Houston, Jacksonville last week was a good game too, and good matchup.
Detroit, New Orleans is a game that means something. Oh, Chargers, Patriots is awesome. So is Carolina, Tampa.
It's Belichick coaching against his future team.
Oh, maybe.
I'm here for the Belichick coaching rumor mill is one of my favorite things going right now. I don't think he's going anywhere. Like,
I don't think he is either. But I think if anything, he would retire. Like, why? He's not going to go to. He doesn't seem like a guy who's like, I want to stick it to them one last time. I feel like he's going to be like, whatever, I'm done. I don't know. That's just me.
And then, by the way, December 10th, Buffalo at Kansas City 425 into Philly Dallas on Sunday night. That is
NFL executives were coming themselves like as they're hyping that up. Like,
that is sensational.
That's
then the following week, if Buffalo could play well, these would be fun games.
Hammering Dallas in that game, by the way.
Dallas Sunday, December 17th, Dallas at Buffalo at 425, followed by Ravens, Jacksonville.
Ooh.
And then the Patriots on Monday Night Football. Oh, no. I love that.
They can flex that, though.
Yeah.
They can flex that now.
Who are they playing? Aren't they playing the Chiefs? They're not flexing Mahomes.
So who would they flex on? Oh, yeah, they're probably not going to flex.
They're not going to flex Mahomes. They would never.
Let's see if there's a game they could theoretically take. Okay, there's 5 games that are TBD. Minnesota, Cincinnati, no. Chicago, Cleveland, no. Denver, Detroit would be a bigger game from like an implication standpoint. But they're leaving market on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
So when can they start flexing Monday Night Football? Is it week 15?
I think it already started.
I think it already started, yeah. But
there
needs to be the 2 weeks of lead time or so.
On Christmas, the Ravens game is the only good game. Giants, Eagles, Vegas, KC. Oh, Vegas, KC's okay.
Yeah, Vegas kind of hung in there for a little bit, but they'll be in Kansas City that time. So
2 Saturday games, Cincy, Pittsburgh, and Buffalo Chargers and the Chargers on Peacock.
Buffalo Chargers on paper, I think at the beginning of the year looked like a good one.
Well, yeah,
for sure.
The Chargers have gotten put in a lot of slots where I think people thought they were going to be better.
If it's a game of Madden, you're like, this is going to
be better. They should be a lot better.
Yeah. Dallas, Miami on Christmas Eve. And the NFL Network gets Patriots, Broncos on 8 o'clock on Christmas Eve.
I know we have a Titans, Dolphins.
That's when you head to church.
Coming up, and that is not going to be good.
Pigs in the blanket. And what was that? Patriots, Chargers, is that what you said?
On Christmas Eve?
Yeah.
Patriots, Broncos.
Patriots, Broncos, right.
Or sorry, on Christmas Eve. New Year's Eve, Green Bay, Minnesota at Sunday Night Football. But that can be flexed. So here, we'll get out of the Ravens conversation on this. I want to talk about this. So the Ravens play the Dolphins on New Year's Eve. Scheduled right now for 1 o'clock on CBS. I don't totally know the flexing rules, but I'm assuming that CBS could flex that game to 425 if they want. I think they can do that. I think they can move it to like their more prime slot. I'm assuming. Right now, their other 4 o'clock games are Kansas City, Cincinnati, and Denver Chargers.
Again,
the Sunday night game is Green Bay, Minnesota. So the Ravens game and CBS theoretically could protect. I think they can protect the game. So I think they can protect
Ravens, Dolphins.
But imagine the Ravens-Dolphins game getting flexed to Sunday night on New Year's Eve. That would be a scene down here.
Bring back a lot of PTSD. New Year's Eve games.
Yeah. It could go to 4. That will just be interesting. Because as you said, that has happened before. It just wasn't at home.
No,
the game wasn't home. The game wasn't home.
The game wasn't
home. I'm an idiot. That game wasn't home. Yeah. So just something to throw out there for everybody.
Now, I mean, CBS would be dumb not to protect that game.
I think you can. I should have looked up.
I think you can protect one. They talk about it on Pardon My Take, and I think you can protect one.
And that would be the game they would protect, I would assume. None of the other games are up to that caliber. So, but it could be moved to that 4 o'clock slot.
Could you
which
imagine?
Would make a lot of sense because that would be their biggest game of the day.
Could you imagine being a Dolphins fan and being like, "Oh, we're going to go to that game," leaving Miami for Baltimore on New Year's Eve? Like, that it just doesn't make much sense. You know, I don't know. I feel like,
and then I think there's a high chance Baltimore Pittsburgh is the Sunday night game, depending on where Pittsburgh is, and if the Ravens are playing for the 1 seed.
Yeah, that'll have a lot of different like AFC.
The only other
potentially.
Buffalo Miami could also be the game. Good. Everything else is not that great
because there's just not a lot of good teams. That's what it boils down to. There's a lot of bad football every single week. Like I did talk about.
It's mainly that the NFC is just garbage across the board.
They're the most top heavy thing I've ever seen. It's the Eagles, the Cowboys, the 49ers, not in any order, but then it's just nothing.
And by the way, this would be mitigated if college football had a 12-team playoff this year, which would absolutely bang if they had a 12-team playoff this year. Such a shame.
They've got so many powers in the top 10. Like
so many teams. It would be so fun. It would be so. They should just have gone through with it no matter what. Just first round game. Cannot wait for that next year. All right, let's move on here. Arditti, do you want to touch on any? You want to congratulate Felix Bautista?
Yeah, congrats to Felix. Again, I didn't even know they're still doing awards. Like, it's November 29th. And they're like, oh, yeah, here's the reliever of the year. Felix Bautista, Devin Williams. Awesome. Like, good for Felix. Again, did not even know they were doing it. He won it unanimously, which is pretty funny because he didn't pitch, the last 5 weeks, something like that. But he was just that good. So well-deserved by him. Again, I don't think it's the Rolaids relief pitcher of the year. You remember that, Brian? I know it used to be.
It's been Rolaids for a while, I think.
But is it still? I'm looking.
Oh, okay.
I just see AL reliever.
Fireman of the year.
Yeah. No, but again, it's cool for him. Again, he had a career year. It's gonna suck that he's out all next year, but there's not much else to talk about, I guess.
We just continue to be in a holding pattern. Do you want to touch on the game times? There was some brouhaha about the game times.
Sure. Yeah. What is it? The Orioles. What did they announce? I think not just the summer like they did last year, but all the games are, what is it? 6:30. I think 6:30, 6:35. First
6:35, I believe. Is the
time. What is it? Saturdays are going to be 4:35, which I think I like that.
I'll give it to you right. I'll give it to you now. The Orioles announced that home game times, the introduction of 4:05 Eastern start times for all Saturday home games, except for the June 29th game against Rangers, blah, blah, blah. The schedule will also feature expansion of 6:35 start times to include all weeknight Monday to Thursday home games throughout the season, except for Nationals game. And then Fridays are 7:05. So,
and then Sundays 1:35, right?
1:35,
yeah.
Correct.
It's fine. I mean, like, people were complaining. I also, again, I'm not a John Angelos fan. I think no one really is, but there was somebody online who I saw who was like, "This is just not John Angelos's way." The 6:35 games to make sure less people come, so then he can say that no one's coming to the games and move the team. And I was like, that's not what's happening at all. Like,
I don't know if people realize that, whatever you want to say, they are trying to make money off the team. They like to put people in the seats.
Yeah. But no, I get, I mean, it's, I saw some people who were like, oh, I live in Montgomery County and I get off work at 5, or I get off work at 5:30, 5:45. And they're like, I can't make it. It's like, well, it sucks, but it's not going to work for everyone. I'm sure there are some games you can make it to. So I didn't think it was a big deal. I think it's neat. And sure, again, just fucking win the game. I don't care what time you start them. Just win. Doesn't matter to me.
I think it's interesting they did it. They did the 6:35 for the whole year. I kind of like the split of like kind of having the 6:35 games.
I would have been fine if they kept it
for a certain part of the year, but whatever. It's fine. I mean, it's very easy for me to say because I can walk 10 minutes to the stadium. So the game times for me are never going to matter, but I can see why people would be upset about having to battle the traffic and find parking, and it's going to be even more of a challenge to get through traffic at 6 o'clock to get to a 6:35 game than driving it a half an hour later to get to a 7 o'clock game.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. I don't have any problem with anybody that's upset about this, and I don't have any problem with anybody that's fine with it. It's just sort of an is what it is situation. The Orioles must have had some data on attendance to make them make that decision. I mean, that's the only reason they would have been like, all right, we're all in on this because we feel like the other thing I think it's interesting about is TV. Like, did they see any significant viewership drop at 6:35, or did they see it increase? Did they find people were more invested in a game they didn't think was going to go late? I don't know.
And I'm wondering if it has something to do with, like, say they have, if the Cubs are coming in on a weekday series as opposed to like if they're like, oh, we can get people in for these. People are going to come to the ballpark at 6:35 regardless because the Rangers are going to be in town and they're playing in the weekday games or something like that. Like if the opponents, if it's the White Sox, it's like nobody gives a shit, but maybe they think like, oh, we can get more people in because we're playing a marquee team, as opposed to the Royals on a Friday night or something like that. I don't know. But
and maybe they've done the research and that 6:35 time really makes a difference. Like people with kids, like getting that extra half an hour is like and playing a 2-hour game and getting out of there by like 8:30 is or getting out of there by 8:45, 9 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Like that's more reasonable than getting home at 10.
Yeah, and I was gonna say also too the pitch clock. I mean, the pitch clock also the pitch clock was basically a 6:35 start before. Like it slowed the game, or it sped it up so much. So again, obviously the games were going so much quicker. The Saturday 4:35 games do help for Baltimore week because those were long days. That Saturday, it's going to be a nice. I'm excited for that now because
I've always said that 4:30 is like the ideal Saturday game time.
Yeah, it gets hot out there if you're in the outfield. It's going to steam up, but I don't know. That's part of summer. Yeah, bird bath, summer baseball, baby. That's what it's all about.
I like that you can kind of pick your poison on those weekend games. If you're trying to go to a night game, go on Friday. If you're a little bit more in the middle of the road, you go to the 4:35. You go to some before the game, and then you're able to get home after. And then if you want to do like the day game, you get the 1:35 day game on Sunday. So,
yeah, I like it.
Go on, Orioles. Do what you need to do. All good with us.
Make some moves. That's all.
Make some moves, win some games. As you said, Arditti, if they win the games, people are going to show up. So it doesn't really matter what the playing times are.
It doesn't matter. They could play at midnight. It doesn't matter. Just win.
Yeah. Let's move on. Nik Caner-Medley Maryland Person of the Week. Before we started, Banks, you said we got to do this. I've got things lined up. So what do you got?
Oh, I got Culver's. I got to talk about Culver's. Culver's is just an elite fast food restaurant. It's probably not the first time I've talked about it, but just like think about the way that everyone appreciates Chick-fil-A and it's just beloved and they just have things figured out. They don't have the operations down to like a complete hum and they're not packed like a Chick-fil-A is, but they just do everything's just quality. It's just delicious. It's a great butter burger. It's like a high level, like it's like kind of looks like a Wendy's burger, but it's better and just delicious. Like a double butter burger with cheese and bacon is just elite. You get cheese curds for a side. At least that's like a side sub that you can pop in there. Delicious. They've got great ice cream. You just mix in a flavor of the day. It's just top notch.
Are their burgers square? You said like Wendy's. Are they square? Are they because aren't Wendy's burgers square?
Yeah, I don't think they're square actually. They're circular, but like in terms of like the meat looking consistency, but like I don't know. I don't know why I likened it to that, but it's circular patty.
You said that in the group chat. I think you said it's basically like an upgraded Wendy's. Like it's like a
yeah.
If Wendy's was a Pokemon, Culver's is like the final evolution.
Sure.
That looks like it went right over Brian's head.
No, I got it, but it's like sure. No, I'm there. I'm with it. It's just so good, and of course, like the service and everything is top notch too. So I just can't say enough good things about Culver's, and I'd like to open the first one in Maryland. Like that's now a life dream of mine. So
got to get in touch for some franchising opportunities.
Absolutely.
What's the closest Culver's to here? We've definitely done
in the group chat talking about it. Like
100%.
Very, very excited talking about it.
Find a location.
Taylor, have you been to one in any of your Midwest?
I have. I don't remember what I ate though. So I need to get back. I do need
to there's a lot of things on their menu that are probably awesome too that I just got to get a Butterburger though.
I searched Culver's on my phone. It said no restaurants nearby. It looks like North Carolina. Durham. Yeah, there's a bunch.
Yeah, they're in a lot of states at this point, but
Tobacco Road. There's a lot of them.
Ooh,
Raleigh.
Oh, don't tempt me with a good time. But I got Cookout down there, so that's tough decision.
It looks like they're more surrounding Raleigh than Durham or Chapel Hill or anything.
Good job. Nice job to NC State.
I mean, that's a hell of a Wake Forest. Yeah, there's Wake Forest, Winston-Salem.
I've seen it in my one trip to Wake. I remember seeing them there. We were just doing
4 hours, 31 minutes. Closest driving. Apex, North Carolina. It's not that bad.
Oh, that's okay. I know where Apex is.
Yeah, 304 miles.
There you go.
Okay.
That's a good pick.
Yeah, so each given location has a different flavor of the day.
Draft?
I don't think we have.
We probably should do that.
Yeah.
We probably should do that. I think we didn't do it at one point because we had sort of based our draft stuff off the dog walk, and I think they did one. And so
it was like too recent, and we're just like, we'll just
I think that was the problem.
And then also, like, we had a bunch of great topics that we're like, okay, we're just gonna backburner that for like a really great week when we're really fired up to do it, and we could do research and do it well. And then those weeks just never happen.
Yeah. Although I'm not remembering that somebody taking Burger King at one of these things, so maybe we have done it.
That may have happened.
Yeah. Arditti, you're Nik Caner-Medley.
I am going, and if you follow me on Twitter, which I'm sure you don't, you saw me talking about it all day. The Spotify Wrapped, perfect way to start the day today. I love Spotify Wrapped so goddamn much. I don't know why. I'm always very interested in like the numbers, and like I'm also a big like if you put a song on your Instagram story, there's 100% chance I'll listen to it. Like I'm very curious to like what other people like are listening to, or what new songs, what new bands and stuff like that. Like I found a lot of good bands this year by doing that. Just like, tagging along, like, this person's listening to this. They posted it on their story. I'm a big follower when it comes to that. So this morning when I woke up and I saw it at like, I don't know what time it was, but I was like, oh, fuck yes. I was like, this is going to be a fantastic day. And like scrolling through and seeing, and it is always cool seeing all the people who are like, exit 52 on my top 5 or top 1. Like the one guy,
it's cool.
The one guy who tweeted us and was like, he's listening. He was like, I think I'm number 1. He's listened to like 6,000 minutes of the podcast this year. And I was like, that's the highest I've seen. So I was like, I don't think I've listened to 6,000 minutes so far. Like of all the podcasts, but it's always cool to see. Again, we definitely appreciate everyone who listens to us and all the lists we made. But I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. And then I'm an even more sucker for the people being like, nobody cares about what you're listening to and blah blah blah. Like we get it, but I'm a sucker for a day like today. So it was a good day. It was a very good day. Spotify Wrapped. It's one of my favorite days of the year. I think it may be top 5 favorite day of the year.
It's such a good day. That's such a good pick.
Other social media things that come out from it, like all the companies like who replicate it and do shit like that.
It's an incredible marketing campaign. It's a marketing campaign that every single person that uses the product waits for and is excited about. Yep. And everybody parodies it, so you just get more free advertising. It's an incredible job. And the people that use Apple Music, and I've said this before, what are you doing? I mean, what are you doing? And they do their like replay thing or whatever. Make the move. So, I mean, if you want to listen to X52 on Apple Podcasts, go right ahead. But Apple Music, I just don't know why people are all on Spotify.
Somebody said the Apple Music people are like the Android people, and I was like, yes, that's perfect. Like,
our good pal, Mr. Ryan Lee said Spotify Wrapped gives green bubble energy.
No,
sorry. Apple Music gives green bubble.
Okay, energy. Yeah. I was going to tell him.
Very well said. No. Yeah, sorry. I have too much in my brain.
Shocker. Ryan Lee did not miss.
Did not miss at all. Great stuff from him. This guy Nick at 410 Sports Guy. Shout out to him. 6,200 minutes.
That's so many minutes. Like
Tommy Wilkins also
6,300
minutes. Let's see if I can scroll through here and get some more. I'll just shout everybody out.
Also,
Taylor Stink. Oh, great name. Thank you, Taylor. Shout out to Taylor.
Real quick.
100 minutes.
Shout out to my dad who actually called me to ask if we made the Spotify.
That's so funny.
Top 11 for sports podcast of the year. He said, did you guys really make the list? Somewhere on the list. We're down there, but we're not top 11.
We've got Harry Himmelfarb, 6,000 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't see these new ones that came
100 hours.
Brian Keeley, 30,000 minutes. I'm just trying to read everybody that I did.
There's so many good ones.
This guy, Cohen, at RC is the name too. 3,000 minutes. It's awesome. That I don't think people realize how good that makes us feel. So if you haven't, tweet it at us. It's cool. It's cool to see.
Yes. Genuinely think it's like very cool and like, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. And then like when people tweet us their full standings and you see what podcast they listen to us with, it's very cool.
I told you today, my buddy Taylor Kopnitsky was above. He was the guy who we met up with him before Ravens Steelers.
Yeah,
they had the table at Pickles.
Oh yeah, those guys are good guys.
He said we were above. Pardon my take. So suck my dick, big cat. So
yeah,
good luck coming back from that one.
Take a seat.
Wait, did you guys do it? What are your numbers? I didn't see any posts from you guys.
Oh, here, I'll pull mine up right now.
I would love Taylor's. Yours is probably such a melting pot.
I mean, well, it's really the same thing every year, to be totally honest with you. And I'm glad you brought this up because I do have an announcement to make, Arditti, that you will specifically be interested in about my Spotify Wrapped. So any listener of the show here knows what I listen to. I mean, it's a lot of Taylor Swift, it's a lot of pop, blah, 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 blah. Olivia Rodrigo, who's on this list. Would you call her Rodrigo?
No, my buddy calls her that, so it just cracked me up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I had 7,300 minutes listened total.
Ooh. Okay.
73,000. I can't talk right now.
I knew what you meant.
Taylor Swift, number 1.
Shocker.
Miss Rodrigo, number 2.
Yeah.
Who makes a triumphant return after dropping out last year.
She didn't do anything last week.
The Jonas Brothers, number 4. Ariana Grande, who's a staple, number 4. Jonas Brothers, number 3. Ariana, number 4. And then the GOAT Morgan Wallen slips in there at number 5.
I was worried he would slip into mine. I said we listened to a lot of them on a bachelor party in Arizona, and they used my account. So
dropping out of this though, RDT, and this is where you come in, is your girl, my girl, Demi Lovato. Doesn't make it. She's been in for like 6 straight years. Does not make the top 5.
That's tough.
Does not make the top 5.
That's tough. No, I posted it, but I'll go real quick. Mine were.
Oh, by the way, sorry to finish mine, and I sent this to our good pal Pat Dugan because I knew he'd appreciate this. I should have sent it to you, Black. The location that I was most related to, College Station, Texas.
Wait, why?
It said that's where.
Oh, like your profile?
Yeah. I said so. I'm just a Texas A&M sorority girl.
You're a yell call. What are they? Roll call. Yeah, you're one of them.
Yeah, yell call. Dugan said you just listen to yells all day.
I posted mine, but they were Quinn, which I still don't know how you say his name. 92. I say XCII. I think it's 92. Post Malone 2. 2 Friends number 3. I'm kind of shocked. It does suck because the big booties don't count towards it because they get taken down and re-uploaded. They can't figure out how to get them in there.
Yeah.
Drake number 4, the GOAT, and then Loud Luxury 5. So my top genre, pop. So Taylor, you and I are very aligned in that. But a big miss from me this year was like every year for the last 4 years. What's our girl's name? Haley Steinfeld. That song "Let Me Go" was always in my top 5. It's a great song. I don't think it's top 5 for me, but it was not on there this year. So, I remember I posted it last year and it was on there, and I was like, I love the song, but it's not in my top 5 right now. But yeah, and I'm sure Brian. I wasn't expecting Brian to do it. This seems like something you'll get around to a little later. I don't even know if Brian does. Brian listen to music?
Hardly.
Yeah.
I don't actively seek out music.
See, I'm on from the second I wake up. I'm playing music.
I'm on Spotify all day. Pretty much.
You play music at the office that's just cranking all day, and somebody else is just on the ones and twos there. So
yeah, I lock in with my headphones sometimes during the day at work, so I'll throw music on there.
Again, I stopped listening to the Apple podcast. I stopped listening to the podcast on there and moved them over to Spotify.
Me too. I'm fully centralizing to Spotify.
Yeah, everything is Spotify. So they own me. They 100% own me.
Speaking of Spotify, speaking of music, my Nik Caner-Medley Maryland Person of the Week is the local musical outfit known as Gone Swimming, who's released their first single, Blue Lagoon, with member and friend of this show, Mr. Drew Gibbons. a part of the ensemble there. A fantastic, easy listening song, Blue Lagoon. You can find it on Spotify. It's very much a summer song. They released it now, but it feels like a song that is like you listen to in Ocean City or like on a boat or something. And their EP drops soon. I will say, I promised Drew that I would remember when their EP dropped when we talked the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I can confirm I did not remember the date. I texted him and didn't get a response. So if I get a response for next week from Drew, which I'm sure I will, we will say when their EP comes out. But they also perform locally. So they've been at Don't Know and a variety of other establishments around. So you may see them out and give them our best if you do, if you're out seeing them play live music at the bars. So shout out to Gone Swimming, Blue Lagoon, the name of the track. Soft rock, easy listening. Good stuff.
By the way, I do always think it's funny when like you can obviously tell the parents who play songs for their kids. Like I like KFC's today had like I forget like hardcore rap song 1, hardcore rap song 2, and then Peaches from Mario. That's number 3. And like my buddy just uploaded his number 1 is Daft Punk, number 2 System of a Down, like Muse, Alice in Chains, and then his top song is Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. You can always tell. It's so great.
That's so tremendous.
Yeah, it's very good.
So, any honorable mentions for anyone?
Who did it? Did I have one? Let me look. No, I did not.
I felt like I did, but I can't recall now.
You were still on Culver's.
Yeah, it's just
my Utah State.
I had 4 times in 9 days.
My Utah State Aggies have a deal at Culver's where if they score 80 points, you get free ice cream. The crowd gets free ice cream.
So each location has a different flavor of the day, but they only have vanilla, chocolate, and the flavor of the day. So you'll be driving by Culver's, and they're enough in Wisconsin where you might be driving 3 miles, and you'll just be like, oh, I hate that flavor. I'll just get it at the next one.
Wait, so like say there's so like if say there's one in Fed Hill, their flavor of the day is cookies and cream, and then you drive over to Fells, and that one is like Rocky Road, and then you drive over to like Pasadena, and that one's like strawberry shortcake.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and you can look up online like what it is.
Who has what.
So
they seem to know what they're doing. Like stuff like that is like that's some high quality shit there.
Yeah, and I put that out there. I tweeted it, and there's a lot of good responses from people. Just like,
I saw Rick say something to you, and it's like, that's the spot or something.
Yeah,
big flyover state place. Big flyover state.
It's gonna take over. It's gonna be in our backyard before we know it.
It seems like if anything is gonna make its way up here, it's gonna be Cookout.
It's like, a little surprising.
It's a race. I mean, Cookout's in Fredericksburg, and there's one in Salisbury, so it's like
I guess
here, but they're a little more. They're a little more put a Bible verse on the cup type. And Culver's actually has a little bit of that going on, but. Who
doesn't love a little GOD?
Has their background and everybody.
Chick-fil-A isn't open on Sundays. Do it if the food is good. People go.
Yeah, exactly. Cookout literally has a Bible verse like on the cup, though.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, I don't give a shit. Like,
no, I don't.
Yeah,
doesn't matter to me.
Yeah,
if it's good, it's good.
What Jake always says, he doesn't care about your background as long as you can fry some fucking chicken. That's Jake.
And on that
sounds like him.
And on that note, we've come to the end of this episode of the Exit 52 podcast. If you're watching the YouTube version, you're seeing the scroll below. But if you're not, you make sure to like and subscribe, Apple, Spotify, all of the different podcast platforms. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube page. Get the notifications when the live shows come on post-game. Spenny and Jake will do the preview pods live sometimes. Obviously, they just dropped the jumbo set yesterday. Great stuff from them. No instant analysis this weekend, obviously, with no game, but we'll be back in a couple weeks post Rams game for another instant analysis. And then as the baseball hot stove heats up, we'll be chatting about that too. So follow us, all of us on social media at EDITTI22. You can follow Banks at Barstool Banks. You follow me at Tower Smyth 10. You follow Jake at Jake Louque, and you can follow Spenny at Ravens for Dummies. Very much appreciate the support. Follow us on social media on the podcast at X52 Podcast. On all of your social media platforms. Fellas, it was an absolute pleasure. I cannot talk. I am just making continue mistakes, and that's when I know it's time to end it. So very much appreciate. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Thanks once again to everyone. We are thankful for you. If you're in or out of the Spotify Wrapped, thanks for listening. We very much appreciate that. That was very cool to see all day today. I want to reiterate that. We could not be more thankful for you, the listeners. That's why this continues to be fun. We will see you next time on the Exit 52 podcast presented by Jimmy's